you think of horror, you don't really think of Clint Eastwood. However, the first movie he ever directed was effectively a horror film, a stalker film, actually. It's called Play Misty for Me. It tells the story of a local radio DJ who, every night when he is on the radio hosting his show, a random woman always calls in and tells him to play Misty for her, a song. And she's kind of obsessed with the show, so much so that she kind of moves in and does things for the host, which is nice at first, but then gets really creepy. And when he tries to sever ties, she doesn't take it super well. Like I said, this was the directorial debut of Clint Eastwood. By this point, he had been in quite a few movies. He had been in the Dollars trilogy with Sergio Leone, and he had made a big splash in America. And according to him in an interview, he had put in his 2 cents on certain things like camera placement and how to say lines of dialogue, and establishing his own production company, Malpaso. He essentially said that he felt comfortable directing his own movies, and Play Misty for Me was the first movie he ever directed. And according to my research, he actually was a very efficient director. His budget was around $1 million. He came in just about shy of that, like 50,000 shy of that, and 4 or 5 days ahead of schedule. That's crazy, because you hear all these stories about nowadays about how Disney is just spending like $300 million on movies that will never see a profit, at least for several years. And then you have Clint Eastwood back in the 70s being like, yeah, give me $1 million, I'll give you a nice return. And I mean, that's it. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that he basically filmed the movie in his hometown. The movie takes place in Carmel by the Sea, California, which is where he lived for a good amount of time. I think he still lives there. He was even the mayor of the town for a couple of years. Yes, really, I had to double check that. He was the mayor of the town. But by keeping it in his hometown and primarily filming it in places that he knew, including a local radio station, filming it in houses that belonged to friends of his, it kept costs down. It's one of those movies that you really do not expect much from, but it turns out that, yeah, this is actually a pretty effective stalker movie. The woman in the movie really just falls head over heels in love for the Eastwood character, and the Eastwood character is nice at first, but then at a certain point is like, leave me alone. Like, I'm trying to get things right with my wife, my ex-wife, so just please leave me be. And yeah, she does not take it well, like, not at all. There's a great scene in which, after the woman is kicked out of the house, she comes back and attacks the house cleaner. And it's a brutal scene. I was like, wow, I don't think she's going to make it. And she makes it. But at the same time, I was like, well, that was kind of brutal low key. And at the end of the day, Play Misty for Me is not just a trivia question or an answer to a trivia question of what was the first movie that Clint Eastwood directed. It's actually a pretty effective little horror movie. I give it a modest recommendation.